kind of to you, the most important statement or policy that Bernier has put forward that sets him apart from the other parties? Like, which one of those would you say is the most important for you personally?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I think the identity politics game that's being played in this country today is one of the things that I find most alarming, and the incongruence with government policy that the Liberals have taken with reality and what's in the best interest for Canada. You know, both economically and as a people. It just, the games that they seem to be playing are nothing but divisive and put us back into a tribal state. And I don't quite understand what the motivation is behind that, but I find it alarming. Like, we played these games last century and it killed over 250 million people. Do we really want to go down that road again? Right? And I feel confident that, you know, we as a nation probably wouldn't let it get that far, but I think that's something that starts here today, right? That's what this party, I find, is a response to those games that they're playing.
Yeah, so absolutely, I agree. And I'm going to add there, so for me, individual responsibility, that's one of our 4 pillars. That's something that stands very strong and close to my heart, because I've lived from the bottom to the top. I've made my way. I've taken full responsibility for every one of my actions and every one of my outcomes. And I feel like as a party, that's something that, you know, Max has been pushing for. We're not pandering to special interest groups. We're not going to whoever's donating the most money to our party. We are going to speak for the people, and we're going to start promoting individual responsibility. And with that, hopefully, we're going to be starting some intelligent political discourse and not just divisive tactics. Yeah.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Because otherwise, one of these guys is going to have to go buy you guys dinner probably. Get through this before the afternoon is no longer afternoon.
I just have one for Dan.
Sorry, yes, go ahead.
Your social media backgrounds would be very helpful in this. I was just wondering, since you were part of the last Kelowna election, what do you think would be the main focus on swaying Kelowna's voter base? Because I could not understand it.
So this is a really good question, and I wish, I'm not going to spend a ton of time. There's a lot of research and a lot of technicalities into the political landscape. I'm going to say just right off the bat, we have, and we saw this in the municipal election, we've got a lot of people who want to see a change in the political scene right now. I know a lot of people who voted for Stephen Furr aren't necessarily on that page anymore. They're wanting to see Conservative come in. Unfortunately, we've got Renee and Tracy kind of fighting for the Conservative seat. Both of them are kind of liberal, and so they're not hitting all the values that the people, that the electorate want. So I think that we want to see a Conservative candidate. We want to see that message out there. That's what I think is the most important thing right now in the political landscape.
Yeah. Thanks.
Do you need equal time on that? Is there any need?
No, it was just the social media background sparked it, so I thought about that.
You got a big gun.
Social media, not my strength. Your company does strategies for marketing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Given the, yes ma'am.
I just have a general question as in the selection process, because I know the selection process, as the Conservative Party does it, and the Liberal Party, and that is selling memberships. Is that something that's going to be open to the membership to decide, or whether it's the membership who selects the best candidate?
At this point in time, this is just forming from the ground up. You know, it's a situation where Max Bernier has already indicated that he is leaving it in the hands of all the individual electoral districts to come up with the best possible candidate. How the elected board of directors pursues that is something that should be of interest to each and every one of you, as is the case with all members, because whether or not somebody tries to parachute a candidate into a riding, as a, for instance, I'm going down to Columbia-Kootenay in about a week and a half, and the Conservative Party of Canada Electoral District Association literally blew up because the candidate that was selected by the electoral district was overturned by the national committee, and they have parachuted a candidate in, at which time pretty much the whole board of directors quit. Yes,
Are you saying that's just happened?
yes.
So the,
Prior to the 2019 election, the EDA for the Conservative Party of Canada in Columbia Kootenai lost most of its board of directors.
wow.
So it's important, and that's one of the things that Max is very, very committed to, is to make sure that the individuals who are in these ridings and these electoral districts are the people who determine the fate and the direction for the nomination for the People's Party of Canada. That's one of the things that hopefully is going to definitely differentiate this party from all of the others. But you do have a board of directors, and you do have a general membership, and that's the kind of thing that should be coming up for debate and a vote if it ever becomes an issue, right? Because you, again, have to determine that on a democratic basis, and that's the whole fundamental principle that underlies this party.
So would that be a question to ask the two candidates, or is that irrelevant and should be
It's
discussed?
absolutely irrelevant because
Okay.
they only get one vote.
Okay.
They can provide some ideas and some direction, and they can be very, very arcane, underhanded individuals who try to do things in an underhanded manner, but you're going to get them if they do, right? Because they're not going to be holding that position probably for long. And again, we're looking for people that are very, very ethical, very, very transparent, very, very accountable, and who are going to represent this electoral district fairly, honestly, and with integrity. And if anybody's not prepared to meet those standards, then please withdraw your name, and I don't think that's going to be a problem for anybody in this room. So, if everybody's comfortable, well, I was just thinking, there's probably going to be free burgers at Dairy Queen. If I draw it out long.
Oh, I can't bribe you both. I can't bribe you.
For the next month and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, so, having said that, I believe that everybody had a chance to fairly represent themselves in the process. If you're comfortable that the nomination process has been handled fairly, what I would like to do is, and in accordance with the fact that we've decided that we will deal with the show of hands vote, I will then call for the vote. So, and I will do it in the order that the candidates were nominated. So, all in favor of Daniel Joseph as president for the Kelowna-Lake Country People's Party of Canada Electoral District Association, would you show your support by raising your hand? And I will do a count. Jan, will you also help with the count, please? And in fact, if you also help with the count, let's just make sure that we all agree. Okay, hands raised. Now we're going to have a huddle. So, based on the hands raised, we are going to consider that we have a voting majority. So, Daniel Joseph has now been elected as your president for the Kelowna-Lake Country Party of Canada Electoral District Association.
Thank you.
We're not going to allow him to take control of the meeting until such time as we finish the election of officers. Okay? So, moving on, and I'm going to leave that up there. And what we're going to do is we're going to proceed to the next position, and the next position I think we have on hand is the position of secretary. That's how it works here. I'm just going to check and make sure. Yes. So we are now accepting nominations from the floor for the position of secretary for your electoral district association. Do we have any people who would like their name to be presented by way of a nomination and a second? Vitally important position to the association. Communications is really big and important. And the president probably doesn't want to have to do it even though he's a social media guy. Somebody let their name stand to fill this position? Or do we have to table this? Oh, good, thank you so much. Patty was about to say it.
And I second.
Whoever you are.
I'm not sure what I'm getting myself into.
Okay, so we need somebody to propose you, and you will accept presumably upon seconding, so we need somebody to propose you, and who would that be? And the seconder?
It's me.
Joseph likes the idea of not having to do all the work. So he has seconded the motion. Are there any other nominations from the floor for the position of secretary? Kelowna-Lake Country People's Party of Canada. I will ask for the third time, are there any other nominations from the floor? Having seen or heard none, I will declare you by acclamation the secretary for the Kelowna-Lake Country. Now, do we have all your pertinent information? You got that? You got everything written down?
Yes, we do.
It's all good?
Yes.
We're under control?
Yes.
I like that. Okay. Moving on, we need a vice president.
I nominate, sorry.
I was gonna nominate Sean Taylor, vice president.
We have numerous seconders. Pick one, sir.
Brian Rogers, second.
Brian Rogers.
Brian.
So we have one nomination from the floor for the position of vice president. Do we have any?
I would like to nominate Clayton Tobin for vice president.
Tobin?
Seconded.
And you have a seconder?
Seamus McRae. I think.
We're 59 here, I'm sorry. Who's the seconder for Sean Taylor? Who seconded?
You, this gentleman.
Brian Rogers.
Who nominated? Who nominated?
I seconded.
This is a pretty good group. It's a lot better than trying to herd cats.
It's not saying.
Peter? And we need a proposal for Peter Neville.
Yes.
And we need a seconder for Peter Neville.
I'll second them.
Gentleman in the lovely,
Alex Dunford, second Peter.
almost like mine.
I nominate Adam.
Last name, Cheka.
Adam
Cheka was his last name.
Chekhov? CH. How are you doing over there?
We're way behind.
Okay. How many nominees do you have?
We need to know who nominated Peter Neville.
I tell you what, if you can stand
Yes.
when you propose and stand when you second and give your name to the recording secretary,
Alex
I'm
Dunphy.
sure someone
We probably won't need to
Alex
have breakfast
Dunphy,
during
D-U-N-P-H-Y.
the dinner.
Dunphy,
D-U-N-P-H-Y.
okay, you nominated Peter Neville,
No, I seconded Peter Neville.
okay, and who,
And who proposed?
I believe it was Sean Taylor.
Okay, Sean did.
Sean Taylor.
That's a shot, right? You want in? What are you having?
Like I said, at this point in time, we're just kind of a bunch of people just kind of hanging, getting together and.
Bring takeouts while we.
He probably has a smartphone. Probably.
That skip the dishes thing, right?
What was your last name, Adam?
Check.
That's the problem with telling somebody how efficient you are.
Can we have a repetition of starting from the beginning, the first one, second, so we have it clarified?
Well, absolutely, and I want to make sure that they have everything recorded up to this point in time.
That's what
before
they're
we-
asking, what our problem is, that's what they're asking.
That's great.
the first and second people that are nominated.
Well, the first person that was nominated was Sean. Okay, and if you've got a proposer and a seconder for Sean.
And by Daniel, and seconder was Brian Rogers.
Okay, the second individual was
Clayton, proposed by,
okay, so Clayton Tobin was proposed by Daniel Joseph, seconded by
Seamus McRae.
Seamus.
Yep.
Okay. The third nominee, Peter Neville, proposed by
Sean Taylor.
Sean. And seconded by
Alex Dunphy, who has left.
Seamus.
No, it was Alex.
Alex.
He was
Yeah.
sitting right here, but he's just. Was he over there?
So we have three.
So we have three nominations
There's
from the floor
There's one more, Adam.
and Adam.
Yeah. Adam,
And
check.
proposed by,
Devin, still.
Adam?
Can you stand up if you don't mind, please? Adam?
It's spelled C-S-E-K-E.
you know what I'm really excited about is that we have a tremendous range of individuals, age-wise, occupation-wise. You know, I think having a
I'll second.
generation apart is really important.
So Adam, did someone nominate you or you nominated?
He was nominated.
Okay.
Yeah, Devin.
Would you two say?
Ah, Devin.
Okay, would you please stand and throw your name and all the information out over to the recording secretary, or maybe even walk over there if you have to make sure they get it right.
And Devin, what's your last name?
Still, SPI.
Okay, good. Yeah, Adam.
You should get sucked into having everyone, just not a chance. I could play clips from Max while we're waiting, but I think we're just what caught up. Do we have 4 nominees for the position of vice president? Just to confirm? Yes, no?
Yes.
Four is the right number, did the number show you forward, 4 show you number?
Okay.
Straight out.
So,
The
the
first
first
Nomination, recording secretary for the position of vice president is? Who was the first one nominated?
Oh, Sean Taylor.
Sean Taylor.
and that's T-A-Y-L-O-R.
Yes.
Okay. because I'm behind when it comes to that. The second person nominated is Clayton.
Clayton Tobin, T-O-B-I-N.
Third person nominated,
Peter Neville.
Peter Neville. And fourth person nominated,
Devin Spittle.
D-E-V,
S-P-I-T-T-L-E.
D-E-V-O-N-I-N.
So, was it,
No, it's
no,
Adam.
he was nominated.
It was Adam, I nominated Adam.
Oh, I see.
Adam, you're the candidate.
Yes.
Perfect. So Adam, I can spell that. What's the last name?
C-S-E-K-E.
C-S.
E-K-E.
E-K-E. How much fun is this? You get to do this once a year and once a year only. Okay, these are our four candidates thus far nominated from the floor. Are there any other candidates proposed for a position of vice president?